welcome to today's edition of Pegasus Test. On today's edition, we're covering the January 2022 Fairfax Rod and Gun Club 2-Gun Action Challenge match. And man, was this one a fun one, and it was a cold one. Yeah, 15 degrees Fahrenheit, 9C for all you people who use Celsius, and quite a cold day for most of the competitors. I say most because I had this great L4 winter camo jacket from Vostaleka and matching trousers to go with it, and I stayed nice and toasty warm through this whole match. Matter of fact, towards the end, I actually had to open the pit zips here and vent out a little. I was so warm. This is good stuff, and I'm sure that staying warm had a lot to do with my good performance, because in this match I came in 3rd overall in 1st and armored, so quite happy with myself on that one. And it was quite a fun match. I mean, this one really was just, yeah, it kind of hit on all cylinders. And had a lot of fun doing it, as I said. So let's take a look at stage 1, first with the diagram of what was supposed to happen. Alright, I said with what was supposed to happen because they had to make a change up. Due to the cold weather, the swinging target thing didn't want to work, so they switched it up for a spinner. So in this stage, what you had to do is you started out at the far right hand side of the range, and between you and your first firing point you had 2 tables. All you had to do is go under both tables, come up, and engage a Texas Star. Once you engage said Texas Star, place your pistol on the table, go under the table, retrieve your pistol, go to the designated firing spot, engage 4 popper targets, then go to the next table, place your pistol on it, go under. On the other side, retrieve your pistol and spin the spinner. What could be harder? While you watch the run, I'm going to ditch this jacket because now I'm not out in 15-degree weather. I'm in my nice warm basement and I'm really starting to cook. Ready? Stand by.
Over! Nicely done.
Alright, pretty solid run. As you can tell, this was a pistol only stage, but you did have to have your rifle with you and it had to go everywhere you went. Now there were no restrictions on that. You could sling it like I did, or you could just carry it, and many competitors chose to do that, including one gentleman shooting a Eddystone rifle complete with bayonet on it, and he drug it under the table. So there was no right or wrong way to carry the rifle, although I could have done better. I slung my rifle muzzle down, and if you notice that muzzle just constantly went in the dirt. And the second thing is, in the sling, I didn't have it cinched down really tight. And as you see the dynamic moving, it gave me a little problems every time I came upright into a shooting position, and I kind of had to struggle with it and get it straight. Cost me a few seconds there, so probably could have shaved some time off of this one. Another thing that worked real good for me is on my Beretta APX pistol, I decided to use the extended 21 round magazine instead of the standard 17. And it took exactly 21 rounds to complete this stage. When that spinner goes over, you can see I'm reaching for the reload because the slide was locked back. So it made showing clear real easy. Yay. And a great stage. This actually wasn't the first stage for me, even though it was first chronologically. This was my 3rd stage. And this just, had me really psyched, having a good match up to this point, and got me psyched for stage 2, which you will see next. Alright, so stage 2, or what for me was my last stage. And maybe fatigue was catching up with me here because this was also my less than greatest stage. So what did you have to do? Well, from the 50-yard line, you had to engage the same array of targets you just engaged in stage 1, but you did it with your carbine or rifle or whatever you choose to use as your long arm. and you had to knock the plates off the Texas Star. Then you had to engage the 4 poppers, and then 1 hit each on the lower paddle and the upper paddle of the spinner. Then you grabbed a full 50 caliber ammo can and you dashed up to your next firing point and then spun the spinner. That was the whole stage. Let's go ahead, take a look at the diagram here of what was supposed to happen and we'll discuss how that was different than what actually happened. Okay, I described to you earlier what actually happened. If you notice, the stage description has a slightly different thing. Again, the moving target thing just wasn't working correctly in the cold, so it had to be replaced by a spinner. So originally what was supposed to happen is where the spinner was, you're supposed to have a target moving between barrels. Didn't happen. But I don't think that changed the stage that much. So let's go ahead, take a look at my run.
Are you ready? Stand by.
Keep it. So I have to have.
Need 2 in the middle. Right target. Right target. And 1 on the spinner. And 1 on each spinner. Clear it. Clear. A little high. Over. Very good. Clear side forward here.
All right, slightly less than optimal run, but still a really great fun stage. First time I've ever engaged Texas Star with my rifle, and it makes no sense. Every other Texas Star engagement I've had, I've managed to knock all the plates down, but this time with the rifle, I got them all down. It just seemed to take a lot of misses to do it. Don't know why. I'm going to blame the shooter, because that's always the right answer. Then you'll notice that the poppers weren't going down. I was actually getting the hits. The RO called the hits. It just, I guess the 5.56 just didn't have the punch that day. Maybe the steel was freezing to one another in the cold. Who knows? But he said I could go on, and I did. Got my tags on each of the plates of the spinner. Dashed on up, and in 10 rounds got the spinner over with my pistol. Kind of a really solid way to end a good stage. Moving on though, we've got Scott Butler's run here. Scott actually ended up winning the whole match and his division, and this was probably his best stage. Here, take a look.
Stand by. Clear. That was a plan. Over. Nice.
All right. Well, I'm pretty happy with that.
As well you should be. Clear. Holster. Coming in at 39.48.
All right, so we move on to stage 3, which for me was my first stage of this match, and it was simplistic yet very difficult stage. So you started out in your start point carrying a 40mm ammo can, and you had another point you took it to and you placed it inside the hula hoop. If you didn't get it inside the hula hoop, that was a penalty. You went up to the VTAC barricade where your rifle was already staged and you had a designated port to shoot through. You had 4 targets to engage, 2 near at 100 meters, 2 far at 200 meters. Once you did that, you put your rifle down, go back to the ammo can, move it to the next circle, come back to the VTAC barricade, pick another port, and engage those 4 targets again with a mandatory reload. and you had to do this for the next cycle as well. So you shot through 3 ports, 4 targets, and you had to sit there and get all this done in 120-second par time. Sounds pretty simplistic. The distances you see on film aren't particularly far, but they're enough to make you work for it, and a few people, believe it or not, did time out on this stage, so it's a lot harder than it looks. Let's see how my run went. Going here.
Yep.
Go. Okay, pretty solid run there, only a miss or two here and there. The box was heavier than it looks, but you didn't have to travel far, you know, a couple of large steps and you were at your next hula hoop, but you were doing a lot of dexterous movement. You had to make sure you got that reload in there. So you had a lot going on, but still a challenging stage, and just great one for this match. Okay, here we are at the 4th stage, which was my 2nd stage. And this was a challenging stage that required you to have your wits about you. So what did you have to do? Well, you started at your start point behind 2 tires. You had to shoot through the tires, and you had 2 targets at 100 meters away. But your tires were up on a berm that was about 6 feet 2 meters above you. So you had to climb up that, then shoot through the target, and it was one hit, one hit, one hit, one hit, no double taps. Move over to the next tire, get your hits, and then you had to unload and show clear, and then retreat back about 25 meters, and then you had to engage an array of targets that was actually behind your previous shooting position, and you had 2 steel IPSCs on either side, of which you got 2 hits, and they could be double taps, and then 2 hits on the other one, and then you had a series of knockdown plates in the middle, of which you had to just knock them all down no matter how many hits it took. This one ate some people's lunches. I was surprised. I was one of the last in the firing order on this, and I kind of underestimated this one, thinking, oh, okay, this is fairly straightforward. You know, I've got a bipod on my rifle. I can engage, so I'll have a shooting, stable shooting position, and then I'll just retreat back, get those nice big targets with the pistol, and then just pick off those small little knockoff ones. Pretty easy. The distance is not excessively far. And before my shooting came up, I noticed a lot of people were having a challenge with this, and the stage was a whole lot harder than I anticipated it to be. Let's take a look at my run and talk about it on the other side.
Are you ready?
Ready.
Stand by.
okay. As I stated on the other side, this match, or excuse me, the stage was a bit harder than it looked. I definitely underestimated it. So, you know, the rifle part, yeah, that went pretty good, you know. Collected my hits right away. For this time, the Black Label bipod worked for me as it should. Good stuff. The retreat went fairly well. The pistol shooting was not as good as I would have hoped. And it is a little bit harder than you think. You got these nice big targets on either end. You can collect your double taps pretty easy. And then you've got to go from quickly collecting double taps to focusing in on a small target this big. And I missed a whole lot more than I should have. I got the nice bonus of like firing a shot and taking down 2 targets with it. That was pretty cool, but that definitely didn't make up for all those misses I threw out there, especially having to throw a reload into it. You know, should not have had to do that. Overall, this match was really fun, which I know you hear me say that because these matches are a great deal of fun. But this one was particularly good. It flowed really well, and you know, there was no excessive downtime in it. You know, you shot your stage, you went on the next one. You know, before you knew it, it was time to shoot again, and that flow kept right through, and that kept for a nice pacing. The old adage that your squad will make or break your match definitely applied here, and everybody on Squad 12 was excellent. They were super cooperative. They were always ready to go when it was time to shoot. No, you can't complain about that. Nothing bad to say there. Also, these type of matches are great practice for brutality matches. And on that note, don't forget, Woodland Brutality is coming. A lot of people at this match said they'd be there, and I hope to see you all there as well.